Hi everyone, this is Josh from JR002, and today I have the great pleasure of speaking to Corbett Barr, a man who has been very successful in implementing a lifestyle that many of us would love to have. He's a corporate escapee turned blissfully self-employed blogger and independent consultant. He's also been working for himself since 2006, and now splits his time between San Francisco and the sunny beaches of Mexico. One of the two sites he owns is about how to work for yourself and live the life you want. His second blog also helps people to build high-traffic websites and blogs. Hi, Corbett, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Sweet. Now, could you tell us a little bit more about your story, like what you were doing before you became a self-employed blogger, and how you came to create a life that affords you the luxury of supporting yourself from nearly any part of the world?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. So my story starts off like a lot of people. After college, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so I started looking for typical jobs within the corporate structure and ended up finding myself being a sort of a technology person and working for a consulting firm that helped big Fortune 500 companies make their technology and business goals better aligned. And, that was a great way to meet people and learn a lot about big business. And they sent me all across the country in the U.S. here, and I got to travel quite a bit as well. But after about 5 years of that, I really started feeling like that lifestyle wasn't for me, and there was always sort of this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that I would never be truly happy unless I worked for myself, or at least unless I tried really hard to work for myself and start my own business. It was just something that was sort of always on my mind, but that I had never really taken seriously. So at some point, my wife and I actually took a break from life, and we headed down to Mexico for a 6-month sabbatical and road trip. And what I really wanted to do was just sort of disconnect and think about what I wanted to do next instead of jumping from one job to the next. And while we were on that trip, something happened that I didn't really expect. We started meeting a lot of people who were living lifestyles that I wasn't really aware of, that I didn't really know were possible. Basically, these people had carved out lifestyles for themselves where they were able to live not for just a week or two on vacation, but for multiple months in other countries like Mexico and to travel around or live at the beach or go surfing or whatever. And these people weren't rich or retired. They simply had figured out ways to make careers for themselves that either let them work from anywhere or let them take off a lot of time each year to travel and to pursue what they wanted to. So that trip was a real eye-opener for me, and initially I thought that I was going to come up with sort of a traditional startup idea and develop something that I would seek investors for and so forth. But instead what I decided was that I really wanted a lifestyle business, something that I had complete control over, something that I could use to pursue things that I was really passionate about, and something that was really flexible and would allow me to work from anywhere, to earn as much as I needed to, and to spend more time at home with my friends and family as well. So that's what I ended up pursuing, and that's why I started my first blog called Free Pursuits.
Awesome. How much of an impact was the book by Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Workweek, and you deciding that you wanted to restructure your lifestyle? Did it play a significant role in your decisions?
Yeah, so initially it didn't actually. I wasn't aware of the book when we first took the trip, and I sort of came to the concept of lifestyle business and lifestyle design naturally from meeting all these people who were doing it. And honestly, these people that we met weren't the type who were aware of the 4-Hour Workweek either. But of course, after I started blogging and started writing about these concepts and talking to various people and sharing the stories of the people that we had met, a number of people started recommending the 4-Hour Workweek to me within a couple of months. And so I read it, and that really just served to help cement the idea that this was all possible and that it was really something worthwhile.
That's so cool, man.
And so you would have been blogging from that point on where you were in Mexico. But one of the questions people are always curious about, and they just don't know how to answer, is how do you make money from a blog? How do you create a lifestyle that's around you being able to just constantly blog, put out content, and somehow make money? Could you kind of detail how people can do that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. The thing is, a blog isn't a business, and a blog is simply a way to reach people. It happens to be a very good way to reach people and to build an audience, but it's not a business itself. So if you're going to blog, what you have to realize is you need to have a fundamental business model behind it, something that you're planning to sell to people, essentially. And so there are probably 4 ways that you can make money from a blog. One of those ways is advertising, and I think that a lot of people have this idea that, I'll just start writing content and then I'll throw up some ads. and make some money. But what you quickly find out is that the scale that you would need in terms of audience size to make advertisements really pay off is something that's not really achievable for most people. You'd need to have a blog with, millions of daily page views to pay out something that's reasonable, unless it happens to be in a very well-targeted space. But I haven't found one of those yet. The other thing is you'll find that advertising pays a lot less than you can make yourself. And the way you make money yourself from a blog is typically in three fashions. One is by creating a product yourself that you sell, and we can talk about that more later. But typically those are probably digital products or electronic products, software or informational products. The second way is by providing services like consulting. A lot of people are web designers or copywriters, or like me, I do marketing consulting. And you can sell services through a blog, and the blog is simply a way to reach people and to get them interested in what you write about and to perceive you as an authority so that you can sell those products and services. And then the third way you can make money from a blog is through something called affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing is a simple concept, actually. Basically, there are thousands of businesses out there who would like to get more customers, and they're willing to pay you a referral fee if you send a new customer to them. So essentially on your blog then, you just recommend products or services that you really like and think your audience would like. And then if one of those audience members becomes a buyer of that product or service, then you get a fee from the product seller.
Right. And with the affiliate marketing, a lot of people might be unaware of what exactly affiliate marketing is in detail or how they would get started in it. So I have a basic understanding of being able to join up with Amazon.com, for example, and take a product that's advertised on that website and get a link or an image that I can display on my website. But for a lot of people, it might be, probably 10 steps ahead of what they're used to, given that they're just competent at checking Facebook or Twitter. But if they do have that passion, what kind of resources are available to them?
You mean to learn affiliate marketing in general?
Yeah. So if they're just like the beginner, they wanted to kind of jump into it, but they didn't know where to go.
Right. I actually happen to have a course on affiliate marketing. There are a number of things out there. There's some free information that you can find online. There's a good site, actually, that a gentleman who is a fellow New Zealander, I believe, named Mark Lang, he has a site called affiliorama.com. And there's a lot of great free information on his site about how to get started with affiliate marketing. I have a course called Affiliate Marketing for Beginners, which really walks you through the entire process of building a site that's focused on earning money from affiliate marketing. And that course doesn't really require that you have any background knowledge. It's truly aimed at beginners. But the concept, like I said, is really simple. And Amazon is a good example. That's available to anyone. Essentially, every product on Amazon.com is eligible for an affiliate commission. You just have to sign up for the Amazon Associates program. And then for any product that you're interested in selling, you just get a link to that product. And then you could promote it on your own website, on your own blog. You could even promote it through Twitter or some other social network and just recommend products to people. And if they happen to end up purchasing it, then you would get a commission from it. Amazon, however, pays out rather low commissions in the range of 4 to 8%, I believe. So I don't typically focus on Amazon. Instead, I look for products that pay higher commissions. A lot of things will pay out between 40 and 60% if they're information type courses online. And so let's say, for instance, that you're interested in guinea pigs. There's a chance that there's a guide out there somewhere about guinea pigs, and that if you sell this guide, let's say for $40, you could earn a commission of 50% or $20 per sale. And what's really magical about that is that you don't have to create the guide. You don't have to put the shopping cart and the sales process in place, and you don't have to support the guide, but you can still earn 50% of the total sale because there's a lot of value in bringing customers to a product. So if people are interested, there's a whole lot of information, as I mentioned. Affiliorama.com is great, or check out my site. There's some information at freepursuits.com as well.
Awesome. And I'm just checking out the Affiliate Beginners Course website as well. So that's at affiliatebeginnerscourse.com for anyone that's interested. If we look at it and then we say, in all honesty, this is a realistic goal for you if you commit 100%. And I think that's the important thing, is that people have to be committed 100%. Then is there a long, say a 10-month learning curve on this, or is it something that they, for instance, apply after a month or two of learning or almost instantly?
That's a great question, and you raise a good point, which is that people really need to be committed for the long term. Because the thing is, there's a whole lot of information out there that talks about, making it rich overnight. And if you've read, I have a manifesto called 18 Months, 2 Blogs, 6 Figures, which sort of details my progress over the past 18 months and how I built a real sustainable business out of my 2 blogs over that time. And I'm very much a realist when it comes to setting expectations, because if you jump into trying to earn a living online or to create a blog and you have the expectation that you're going to start making a full-time income and you could leave your job within a couple of months, it's probably not going to happen. In fact, I don't know anyone for whom that's happened. The fastest that I've ever heard of anyone making a full-time living and being able to leave their job online without a whole lot of prior experience is about 6 months. Typically I think it's more like a year or 2 years that you should be expecting. With affiliate marketing, you definitely can earn some income after, I would say, just about 2 months or so. I've had people who have enrolled in my course and have built up to nearly a 4-figure income after about 2 months. But those are the stars of the class, and that's certainly not what the average person should expect. Right. So it really depends on your motivation, your expectations, and really how hard you work at it.
Wicked. Now, when I first contacted you, I was doing so because I just finished reading your manifesto, and I found it so full of practical content and so real as well, in stark contrast to, like you say, a lot of websites, landing pages that boast being able to make, up to $300 a day after the first 30 days. And so what I found really great about yours is that you pretty much give every part of information that anyone could almost ever want regarding making money online or being successful. And the amazing thing is that you do it all for free, and people don't even have to give an email address to get it. That's right?
Yeah, that's right.
And can you just explain the thought process behind doing that? Because I know there are a lot of people who have blogs who will only kind of give out information if you do a certain amount of things, whether it's give an email address or, some of them even charge for the information. But what was the drive behind you just putting out this free report?
There were a couple of things behind it. So first off, I'm at a point where I've experienced quite a bit of success over the past year and a half. And so certainly I can afford to give away something like this for free, and I'm rather comfortable in how my business is doing right now. And so there's a part of me that actually wants to give back and help other people, because there were so many things that I misunderstood at the beginning. And honestly, my entrepreneurial journey starts back much further. My first attempt at building something online was in 2003. And I think for a lot of that time, I really misunderstood how things worked and how to build a successful business. And so I could have easily gotten discouraged and not pursued this at all. And I think there are a lot of other people who don't even get started because it just seems so daunting to them. So I'm trying to sort of pay it forward to the community and help other people who are coming up like I was, and hopefully the manifesto helps them along the way. The other thing is, with regards to giving it away instead of requiring an email or something, there's evidence that if you give something away like this and it becomes popular, you'll actually get far more subscriptions to your email newsletter than you would if you had required a subscription to begin with, because it's likely that more people are going to share it because of the generosity that you've shown. And so if I can touch a lot more people and end up getting the same or a greater number of people to subscribe to my email list by giving it away versus requiring a subscription, I'd much rather do that.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd always thought the opposite, just to have like a black box that pops up when you hit a page and you have to opt in order to get something, but your result speaks for itself. And just to back up your manifesto, after I watched that, I actually gave quite a lot more effort than I had in previous months to affiliate sales. And I ended up making, my last 2 sales in the last 2 weeks. And that was just for affiliate products like hosting on the internet and some other website-based services. So I fully endorse checking out your manifesto and then going through and implementing it. And I just wanted to jump back on kind of your mindset more so, because you mentioned that you've always had an entrepreneurial mindset ever since 2003 when you first tried your website venture. But when it comes to kind of jumping out of your comfort zone, were there any fears or hesitancies that were holding you back, and then how did you address them?
Yeah, certainly. Fear is is something, it's a really powerful emotion, and it causes people to do a lot of things that rationally they otherwise might not do. And certainly it's affected me along the way. I had built up what I felt was my entire identity and, in a way, self-worth around the job that I had taken, the corporate job, because there was a bit of prestige involved in what I was doing. A lot of my social structure and friends were at that job. And so when it came time to really consider leaving that, I was consumed by fear and stress and anxiety. And I felt like in some ways I was potentially throwing something away and that there would be no turning back. And there's always the fear that maybe you're going to be damaging your life somehow irreparably, and that you're going to be worse off after you attempt this adventure, whatever it is, than you were before. And that's what keeps most people living just a comfortable but never really fully self-expressed or fully explored life. And that's why most people work jobs instead of trying to build a company for themselves, because people will accept certainty over uncertainty. And the problem is that uncertainty usually leads to a much richer life if you're willing to go through that. So for me, I had to deal with, like I said, a lot of stress and anxiety. I constantly thought about giving up, or, what am I doing? Have I done something wrong? Am I going to succeed? And I can tell you today that I'm 110% happy that I kept going, even though I experienced all that stress and anxiety, because the feeling that I have now of being fully self-sufficient, being able to choose what I do for a living, and really doing something that I truly, honestly enjoy and feel like I'm helping people, that feeling is indescribable and incomparable to the life I was living before. So you just have to try to be rational about it and realize that those fears that you have are mostly because you don't know what's going to happen. It's really about uncertainty, and you have to think about being rational. And the fact is, if you attempt to start a business or to do something that you wouldn't normally do, even if you fail, and I put that in quotes, fail, the fact is you're going to gain so much from the experience that even if you don't reach your goal, you're going to be far better off than you were before, just from the process and what you learn along the way.
That's wicked. It reminds me of a quote I remember Jim Rohn making of his mentor, John L. Shelf, where he said, set a goal for the man it requires you to become in order to accomplish it. So it kind of works off what you've just said, how even if you do fail, it's better that you aim high than to fall short without ever trying to do anything great.
Right.
One other thing you talked about, which I think subconsciously does affect us, but we really never give any proactive thought to it, is that the people around us do have an impact on how we think, whether we're really motivated to do something or whether we kind of lower our standards because we want to be accepted. And I remember listening to an audio tape actually last night of Anthony Robbins. I'm like a self-development junkie, but he says people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group. So the best way for us to improve our lives, I guess, would be to improve the quality of our peer group or who we hang around. So working off what you've just said, what is the best way for people to get in touch with other like-minded individuals? What would be your best suggestion in kind of doing that, and then getting a network together of people that are supportive and you can kind of just bump ideas off? Right.
Great question. And I agree wholeheartedly with what Anthony Robbins said about that. The thing is, you and I were talking a little bit before the interview about how willing people are to help out if you just ask. I think a lot of times people are afraid to ask because they're going to get rejected or something, and they're afraid to write people that they meet online or bloggers that they perceive as being successful or larger than life for some reason. But the fact is that people are really willing to help out, and people are fairly generous with their time. And one of the greatest things that I've done for my business in the past 6 months or so is to join a mastermind group. And mastermind group, in my case, is simply a group of 4 of us people who are all trying to build online businesses. And we get together once a week to help each other out, to work through problems, and to set accountability goals for the following week. And like you said, it really matters who your peer group is and who you're listening to. And it's really important to pay attention and to learn from people who have done what it is you're trying to do, as opposed to people who are naysayers because they've never attempted it. And if you sort of remain in your current life and maybe let's say you have a day job and you work with a whole lot of people who are just content to do those day jobs and don't feel like pursuing anything entrepreneurial, then they're going to tend to drag you down and to keep you as part of their status quo. And so really you have to stop listening to those people and start seeking out other people that are like-minded and trying to do something greater.
Right. I actually remember reading the post where you mentioned how you've created your mastermind group. And the great thing is that your example is excellent for anyone who's, living remotely. So for instance, if it was myself and there wasn't anyone within the New Zealand area that was kind of, they had a blog that was similar to my niche, then what I could do similar to you is, am I correct in saying that not all four of you meet up physically? You actually meet up online. Is that correct?
Yeah, we meet up online, and there are times when, and actually, we all travel quite a bit. And so, at times we're all in different countries when we talk, and we just meet up over Skype.
Wicked. So it's a great example for anyone that's looking, and, with the power of the internet, you really don't have any excuse. The only thing that's holding you back is yourself.
Right. And just for an idea of how to get started, and the thing is, you should really look for people who are peers of yours and not necessarily try to reach out to A-listers, because it's much harder to set something like that up with someone who's already established. But the fact is that people who are in your peer group will probably end up being a bigger help to you. And also those people that seem like they're just starting out can become big and powerful allies over time. So let's say you were getting started online. You tend to look around and see what other people are up to and sort of discover people who you feel like kindred spirits with. And if you want to set up a mastermind group, you should just approach people who you feel like are your peers and you feel like have a good chance at success, and just sort of reach out to them over email, get to know them a little bit, maybe help each other out once in a while, and then approach them with this idea. And you may have to go through a few people to find some that are interested. But like I said, it's one of the best things I've done to grow my business over the past 6 months.
Fantastic. Because I remember at the very outset of my trying to get in contact with you, talking about arranging a time, but then you were also mentioning how your schedule is really full on. So understandably, running 2 blogs at the same time, as well as having your own affiliate training program, does take up a considerable amount of your, waking hours. So just to dispel the myth that you can, work, say, for instance, only 4 hours a week or 2 hours a week and be able to make as much money as you would working a 40-hour week, can you give people an idea of how many hours you put into running your online businesses at this point in life?
Sure, absolutely. I think that I've actually written about this before. The 4-Hour Work Week, the book that you mentioned earlier, is very inspiring, and I think it helps people to sort of think outside the box and expand their horizons. But on the other hand, it does do a disservice occasionally to some people who think that you can simply start selling affiliate products or create some drop shipping based business online and start to earn a full-time living while only working 4 hours a week. I like to tell people that it's going to take a whole lot of 60-hour weeks to create a 4-hour work week. At this point, with my affiliate course and with some of my affiliate sites that I built up, they are truly nearly passive income, meaning that I could stop blogging and stop working with clients and just focus on those passive income sources. And for a while, I could probably only put in 4 to 6 hours a week or something and keep those going, no problem. Over time, though, I imagine that products will lose their usefulness, and then at some point I would have to create another product of my own. I think what Tim Ferriss was really getting at, though, is not what people typically think of as work in terms of what you can do in 4 hours. If you really look into what Ferriss has done and ask him or listen to some interviews with him, I think what happens for a lot of people is that your definition of work changes, because when you're doing something that you're really passionate about and that you really love, it doesn't feel like work. It's not what you think of as going to work at your job and sitting in a cubicle and doing things that you don't want to do and doing things that other people are telling you to do. Because when it's your own business, it doesn't feel like work. It's much more integrated with your own life, and you're much more willing to put in a lot more time because you reap all of the benefits yourself. So personally now, I tend to work somewhere between 30 and 40 hours a week. Sometimes more if I'm working on a product that's coming out, then I may have to put in a number of, say, 12-hour days in a row or something to get a product launched. In other cases, I may take a few weeks off and go on vacation. I went up to Canada to go sailing with some friends this summer and took a few weeks off and didn't work much more than 6 hours a week or so during those 3 weeks. So it can really vary. But, in the beginning and to get here for the first year or so, I had to put in a considerable amount of time. And really it was what you would compare to working a full-time job. And I think everybody who's trying to get something off the ground should expect that they're not going to be able to put in just 4 hours a week within the first few months.
Okay. And so going forward, do you think you could kind of point out some of the myths that people hold in their heads? I know one of them that I've just touched off was people thinking or having a naive perception that they don't have to work a lot of hours if they have an internet business. But are there other common misconceptions that people normally run into when they're trying to set out making online businesses successful?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people make the mistake of building a business that is sort of anonymous or faceless, and they think because it's online that being real and authentic and forming real relationships isn't important for some reason. They think that you can put up a web page and then they think of things sort of in a cold and calculated kind of way. They think of visitors and traffic as opposed to real people and an audience. And so the thing is, with an online business, it's no different than any business in the real world. And that is that relationships and trust are really important, probably the most important thing in business. And so you have to think about creating a business and presenting yourself as someone that's real and helpful and trustworthy, as opposed to putting up a page that is magically going to attract visitors from search engines and then get them to pay you money without getting to know you first. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions people have. And when they get started, they focus on finding the right niche or, putting up the best sales copy or something. But in reality, it's about creating good relationships and being authentic and trustworthy.
Right. And that reminds me of one of your previous posts that you did where you've put it to the test by saying the 33 things that you've never told anyone and then just including them in the post. So I guess that means that you've been able to personalize yourself. You've been able to build up more trust between yourself and your readership on your website. And you would say it's had a large impact?
Right. That was one of the most successful posts I've ever run. And it was all about finding your voice online and revealing things about yourself and being honest. And, I said some things in that post that a lot of people, I think, would feel like you shouldn't say if you're trying to run a business online because people wouldn't necessarily be interested in working with you after that. But the fact is, because I showed personality and opened up and showed that I'm a real person, I actually got more business as a result of that. People literally wrote me and said, man, I never knew that you were into, that you like to go to Vegas or that you moon people from moving cars or whatever. Yeah. And literally people wrote me that. Clients wrote me that. New clients said, hey, you sound like a really cool person that I can relate to. I'd love to work with you. And I ended up getting more business as a result of that. And I think a lot of people wrote in the post that they were afraid that I was damaging my reputation or something. But quite the opposite is true, because there's so many robotic sounding non-human voices on the internet that if you just try to be a real person, people resonate with that.
Wicked. So the lesson to be learned is moon more people in moving cars and don't be a blog bot.
Right. Just write about it.
No, that's wicked, man. Hey, thanks so much for your time. The stuff that you provided is truly amazing. And for the readership that aren't aware, where are the websites that they can go to find out more about yourself, your upcoming products, as well as just get more information about lifestyle design, as well as creating more traffic for their own personal websites and blogs?
Right. So I have two primary sites. The first is called Free Pursuits at freepursuits.com. And that's all about how to work for yourself and generally to live the life that you want. And the other site is called Think Traffic at thinktraffic.net. And that site is about how to build a high traffic website or blog.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks once again, Corbett. I mean, amazing call, amazing guy, fantastic content.